In that following year, 1991, Clarissa Explains It All is airing the episode Cool Dad. Marshall is invited to speak at Clarissa's school's career night, which she finds embarrassing. Clarissa tries to convince him not to go, unsuccessfully. Marshall decides to become cool to fit in.
Marshall, don't do it. You can't be cool. Learn your lesson.
Yeah, your cool days never existed, sir. Here's your boy.
My boy, don't ask him about this. You get a fucking. He might throw five across your chops.
Don't talk to me
Um,
about that fucking show.
I'm a thespian. I'm more than Marshall. Fucking whatever the fuck her last name is.
Marshall, darling.
Give me that club sandwich and get the fuck out of my way, PA boy. That's not what he was like. He was genuinely nice, but he didn't
This
like
soda's too fizzy.
that. Yeah. Um, we get another Clarissa, Steve. We get a lot of. I like this one. We get all the things we like, but I going heavy on the dad. I was a little worried, but once we get to the end, I feel like it pays off. I mean,
It
there's
paid
a
off.
moment at the end of this where, I mean, everybody involved should be mortified, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
And and Clarissa's cringing. She's talking about the great moments in humiliation of the classmates she's had in the past, being embarrassed by their parents. Of course, there's getting underwear on her birthday gift. That was humiliating. Her
Yeah.
teacher had her read The Loneliest Tree in the Yard poem. And her dad, her embarrassing dad, is invited to speak on career night. And Clarissa, she's going to start her career as an orphan.
Yeah, she's on. She's about to hop a train out of town because you know, this happened to me a lot where you're just worried. You don't want to get embarrassed by your parents. It happens. My parents were cool, but my parents were old school, like nerdy old school people. So invariably, there was some ribbing in a career day situation that they're showing. That would have been a nightmare to me, Steve. A George Leroy up there just talking about data analytics for an hour. God forbid.
Snooze, man. And just like Marcy Stanford, her dad was a butcher. Now she's a cherry bum gum addict. Cherry bubble gum addict.
Cherry bum? I don't know what that's a different problem, Steve. But what about Bowser Batinsky? What
The
happened
the
to that
former
guy?
the former school bully, his dad sells scented candles, and now he's OCD for flowers. He's one of those PM Dawn kind of guys. And Dora Dillwinker, her mom's a school bus driver, and she's like the bus driver on South Park. Now Dora Dillwinker's got a nervous twitch.
These goddamn kids are fucking terrible. I mean, honestly, that woman needed to be checked by the fucking parents because she was
Yeah,
going off on Mike. So, you know, shame on her. But as always, Clarissa overblowing this. She's worried, but we've all been there. You overblow these things as a kid. So now she has to kind of figure out what to do here. Um, Her dad is really into this idea, which again, she's got a good dad, but like why he's this into it, I'm not really sure, Steve. Because doesn't this guy have more like important shit to do as an architect?
yeah, he's like a out there architect, man. But he wants to reach the children. He wants to touch the babies
Pause. Legally,
and
their minds.
their minds, touch the babies mentally. And Sam's dad, this is one of the side things about this episode. There's this movie out called Teenage Mutant Cheerleaders 5, Pet Rally of Blood. And Sam's dad is raring to go. Sam's dad seems cool. He's a
Yeah.
sports writer. He allows his son to watch whatever the fuck, even the Scattervision things. But
And the homies seem to like him too, honestly, from what Sam says. They want him to hang out. They want his dad to hang out, and they ain't inviting him to the party. So I mean, that's gotta be a mind fuck. But he sounds cool to me. Fuck Sam. Let's hang out with his dad. That dude fucking probably parties, Steve.
and even Clarissa's like, you know what? You didn't have this problem. Your dad's a sports writer. He kicks it with Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson, and like, well, shit. He doesn't talk about boring building stuff. Uh,
He got
but
high with
hey,
Ken Griffey Jr. last week. Fucking, what are you worried about? So he's not. She's Sam's. He's coming up in the on his ladder still. That's fucked up, and I still don't understand why the dad's cool with that. But he's trying to talk her off the ledge, but you can't do that. She's still spiraling. So we cut to the kitchen, and Ferguson, he's pouring it on Steve. He's doing what I did when I wanted to see Wild Things. Just really giving a lot of compliments. He's got to see this movie, for a project, that's a great way to see a fucked up movie. I got to see this for a project. I like that, Ferguson. Salute.
It's a
Um,
period piece.
but Ferguson, as always, he's a little cunt. And he actually wants to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Cheerleaders 5 Bloodbath of Puss, whatever it is, on
It's a
Clarissa.
period piece.
Yeah,
Perfect.
exactly. And Clarissa, being the asshole that she is, just completely just snitches on him immediately, which I don't respect that at all. That's fucked up.
Yeah, and now mom is making Ferguson read some Moby Dick. And that book is like forever and
I've
11
never
days
read
long.
that, Steve. You've never read that. You never read
Fuck
that, did
no.
you? Hell no. Okay, thank you.
I'm
The
cliff noting the fuck. If that was ever an assignment, I'm cliff noting the fuck out of that book. It is
yeah, dude. And but that's what I love because this happened to me all a bunch. A lie gets you roped into some shit because you just like you could have been honest. Maybe something would have happened. You might not have gotten what you wanted, but now he's lying and he's gotten roped into this bullshit of reading Moby Dick and his mom, weird fucking mom, which there's some questionable shit going on. I think mentally there's something going on with this woman. She's talking to puppets and shit, but she's roped him into fucking basically like a volunteer book program, which I don't like. There's not even a pizza, like a personal pan pizza at the end of the rainbow.
a bucket sticker, nothing, man. And
Nothing.
Marshall, he's grilling Clarissa about this damn career day, and he wants to know how long it's going to be. And she's just like, it's going to be really difficult, and it's like 15 seconds. And you got to speak in Latin. And he's just like going with the flow, like, well, I know a little Latin. I picked it up back in the day. And Sam comes back from Teenage Mutant Cheerleaders, and he says that he wasn't scared, but his dad is shook up. He's going to bed with the night lights on and whatnot.
I mean, what is going this? I want to see this movie because this seems like some sort of traumatizing shit. That a lot of people are getting touched by this, and we'll get to that. But Sam, he's not phased. I mean, he's comfortable with anything. A movie like that, breaking and entering, using a ladder into a girl's bedroom unexpectedly, anything. He's not phased. But he helps her to sort of come up with this plan to like scare her father into
Yeah.
not wanting to do this speech. And I guess you can interpret that in whatever way you want, but Clarissa interprets that as dressing like a goth hooker and making it sound like school's some sort of weird Thunderdome situation where people are like banging their heads against the wall. I believe there's some kind of like other shit going on, but it sounds like BDSM high. It's crazy.
She walks down the stairs, look dressed like 80 Cher and shit. And she tells her dad it's the new look. We all dress like this in high school. Don't you think the piercings I have are hating? Like she comes up with her own vocab, like hating as a term of like cool, I guess.
It's
Yes,
like
they're hating.
90, dude. We did it too. You got to come up with it. She's going on the fly cuz she's gothing it up. And her dad though, it's just like this guy, I mean, great 90s man cuz anything that comes out of a woman's mouth, he's like, "Oh yeah, cool story." Anywho, this speech. Dad, I don't Clarissa, sorry, hold on. Man talking here. Like it's a lot of that kind of energy. He's like he doesn't hear it.
Yeah. And she even tells him about the screamers in high school. We got these kids who are just obsessed with screaming at adults. It's like, man, these screamers,
They
the
just
head
scream.
banging.
They're
He's
ripping their
like,
piercings out. That's amazing. She's like, "Wait, what the fuck? You kids are just different." So, I mean, again, she's trying everything she can to just tell this guy, "Don't come to this. Like, please don't do this." And
X-Nay
he's
on career
fuck
day.
it. So now she's back in her room and she's going over options. Um, you could hypnotize him, which she can make a video game about something immediately. So I think she could do that. She's, you know, option one, hypnosis. Option two, crazy glue his ass to the chair, which that's solid. And then the last one, and I mean, this is more, this is kind of questionable, but just get him arrested, Steve. Call the cops, maybe some child abuse, maybe some, something. Make up a crime, get the guy locked up for a couple of days. That's a sure winner if you can play it off, you know.
But then you'd have that whole "my dad is a felon" thing that you got to live with, and it's my fault.
Clarissa, I am now a sexual. I have to register as a sexual predator because you didn't want me to do this fucking speech. Sorry, Dad.
It was bound to happen. You like being around kids too much, and it just didn't sit well with me.
You named your child Ferguson. It was only a matter of time before you started diddling kids, Dad.
Only a matter of time. And your wife is weird. She has apologetic pedophile syndrome.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and her. So cut after that, she's fucked up on the option. She can't figure out anything. So now she's like, I'm gonna go to mom. 'Cause I did this all the time. Dad's not listening. I'm gonna go to mom. Mom, step in, help me out here. So she's like, Mom, I don't want Dad to do this. And meanwhile, her mom's doing some sort of weird puppet show shit with a broccoli and some other shit.
Some milk carton.
She actually in this conversation kind of realizes herself like she's being what she hated as a child. She's like, my mom was she was so much older than me. She didn't understand me as and like
Yeah.
like bitch, listen to what you're saying. So she realizes that. She says she's going to talk to the dad, and
It's too
you know,
late.
it's I mean, it's going nuclear, Steve, cuz now Marshall, I mean, he's the things he's concocting as a person, it's like you don't realize that you're going to traumatize this kid for the rest of their life. Like they're going to have to get so much therapy because of these things.
And she's got this whole like dream in her head about him being like this monster and how he's going to ruin the day. Oh my God, not the turtleneck. He's polyester. He's cornball. He's dad that comes into Clarissa's room.
He's the dad from hell.
Hi, sport.
um, and so as we see behind Steve here, if you're listening, I'm gonna just explain. Her dad walks in trying to be cool, and I don't know where he got these like semi Geordie LaForge style like thin shades, but he looks
Max
like
Headroom.
somebody. He looks like he's blind or he's going to a 3D movie. One of the two. I don't know. It's bizarre. I
Got any
don't.
Gordon Lightfoot?
Yeah, and he starts saying like that old school like when like white people in the 40s wanted to like, hey Jack, what's snapping, dog? Like he's doing shit like that. It's like, dude, just get please. Hey dad, don't do this. Hey, do you think that I should wear this like gold chain or a big ass clock around my chest? Which one? This guy can't figure it out, Steve.
Yo, Sam, what's the vibe?
What's snapping, Jack? Like, oh, who are you? Are you in like a doo-wop group? Like, this is not how kids in the 90s talk, sir.
And Sam comes in there. He's thrown off by Marshall's uh, presence. You know, he's not usually in there. And, you know, he's like, Clarissa, aren't we supposed to go rollerblading? And Marshall says, rollerblading? Is that a new razor? Like, he is so out of touch.
But then him and Sam start getting on a vibe, Steve. Because he's like, man, I remember kids used to make fun of me all the time. And, Sam's like, me too. They never would invite me to stuff. Me too. And then this is just bizarre though. Like if my dad said this to anybody that I knew, I would might get I might physically assault him. But he's like, hey Sam, you want to go buy some clothes that we never thought we'd wear? Like, dude, what is going on, Dad? What kind of
Dude,
midlife crisis are you having right now? What the fuck?
Clarissa is going nuts. Like, what the fuck? Like, you can't just leave to the mall with my friend. And
But he
meanwhile,
does,
Ferguson,
Steve.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Ferguson is disguised in a beard with his fake ID in tow, and he's trying to see teenage mutant cheerleaders. His mom checks him about it, about his beard, and he was just like, I wanted to just be more into the reading. I wanted to actually be the characters.
I
That's
mean, he looks like she's like, "Oh yes, you look like whatever." I forget who she says, but he does look like a Civil War era author, which I love that idea that he could get into a movie like that. Like, one for the horror movies, sir. Like, that's a
yeah.
very Little Rascals way to get into a movie.
It is so obvious this shit is strapped to the back of his head. Like,
But then hours later, um, Sam, Clarissa, uh, and I'm trying to remember. Like, aren't they? Oh wait, my bad. Sorry,
uh,
Steve. So we
well,
cut
they're
back to the kitchen now, because
yeah.
now Sam and her dad have. Her dad's taken a child without telling anybody to the mall to buy clothes, which is just bizarre in and of itself. So now we're back. Um, Ferguson had the fake beard, and then Dad and Sam come back in, and I don't know where they got the outfits, Steve. If MC Hammer had some sort of an outlet store, but they are dressed like MC Hammer's backup dancers, fully.
and they hear the music, the mom and Clarissa, and they run into the living room and they got a full on routine. Not only are they dressed like
Oh,
Vanilla Ice Hammer, but like they have a whole dance routine.
and it's disgusting, Steve. I don't how Sam got roped into this, dude. What are you doing, dude? Like, as Clarissa, don't ever hang out with this guy again because there's some weird going on between him and your dad. Other than this weird, just like, yo, dog, I'm into architecture, and now
He's
I'm
gonna
in.
build your house. I'm
Yeah.
gonna build a house. We gonna build a house. I love it. It's so early 90s, man.
I
Yeah.
mean, get this guy a commercial though, because remember Scuba Steve, the car radio guy from Toledo? Like, this is on
Like,
that
yeah.
vibe. You get this guy just like a weird like set with a couple of like boxes, a couple of weird dancers, little Gumby Gold. You're sold, dude. He's gonna build a
Yeah.
house for you.
I gotta give it to Sam. He was holding it down on his end, man. His steps, they were on point. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Marshall, on
but
the other
watching
hand,
Marshall try to do choreographed hammer dancing or whatever that was, it's just painful, Steve. As an older white guy who's probably the same age as he is in this show, it's just disgusting and I hate it.
and eventually Clarissa's just like, I can't take this. She comes clean and tells Marshall how she feels about all of this shit. And Marshall actually sees her side. But at the same time, Clarissa feels bad. So she was like, you know what, Dad, I know how much this meant to you. Yeah, you could still come. Fuck.
Thanks, sport. But, clearly he's not going to do the hammer routine, which I feel like probably would go off better though, like in a weird way. Like you might give the guy props like once he got to the end of it, you'd be like, "Well, the guy did it." You know, it's not like those people are like, "Don't do drugs," and they're in just like red t-shirts and stuff. Like it's
Yeah, because
not
those kids
bad.
aren't going to listen to that anyways.
Yeah,
They're
we're
going to
gonna
do.
we're gonna be doing drugs and watching that. But cut later that day, Clarissa and her dad get back, and the speech went great. He's dressed as a normal human being. He's got his little T square thing that he's just really into this fucking gigantic T square that he has. And the speech went off great. The kids loved it. They asked great questions. And we think it's all going to wrap up nicely. But then, random thing happens here. Steve, cops come knocking. Is Clarissa dealing drugs? No. Ferguson might be doing drugs though, because he is shaking like Pookie. He's
Oh, why? Oh, man. The monkeys was talking to me. And then they put Jordans on the pit bulls. And then they was fondling each other's balls. Eating jelly beans. West side, west
what
side,
the
east
hell,
side.
Ferguson?
And they're gonna miss everybody. Whoa.
But Ferguson, the cops are like, "Hey, look, we're not gonna arrest this kid, but keep him away from the fucking multiplex till he turns 17, because this kid just watched Teenage Mutant Ninja hookers or cheerleaders or whatever it is,
Ladies.
and he's all fucked up. So I want to see what turned a grown man into a nightlight sleeping man, and also Ferguson into a comatose. Like, blah, 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 blah. I want to see that movie, Steve.
Yeah. Thank you. That shit, like, I don't know what was funnier, the MC Hammer routine or Ferguson returning home. Like that, he was just like, I don't know.
Ferguson's gonna need some kind of therapy or maybe just a popper just to get him back into reality here. But that's it, Steve. I mean, Clarissa
Yeah,
didn't have to make a video game. She really didn't need to do anything other than maybe tell her dad not to buy some MC Hammer pants. But even, I mean, he can go to use those at his own will, though, at this point. And I'd like
he
to see
did.
that episode.
She didn't even have to use her AK. Gotta say, it was a good day.